This out after the call. All right, I'm going to turn on my video. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Taylor Gaffney, and I am the Director of Customer Experience here at Denim Social. And we've got Ryan Griffith here. He's our Solution Engineer, and he's going to go through the platform with us today.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Ryan.
Unable to share my video at this point, so we'll figure that out as we go, Taylor.
We're all good. Awesome. You've got a minute to figure it out, because before we get into the platform, we're going to talk about why social selling is important and how to take your customer through the customer journey, all the way from awareness to conversion. And I'm going to give you a few tips throughout the presentation that you can apply to your strategy, whether you're a marketer or an associate or a social seller. So make sure you keep your eyes and ears peeled, and feel free to ask questions in the chat box as we go. We'll try to answer them throughout, but we might get to them at the end as well. Like I said, we're going to record the session. So, if you have to step out for a reason, or if you just want to revisit anything we talked about, we'll send this out after the call. So it's my understanding we've got a few different types of people on the call. I'm going to have you go right back, Ryan, for a sec. We've got marketing teams. So some of you all are from your company's marketing team. And so you might be wanting to learn more about how to leverage social selling. And maybe you just want to take some knowledge, you want to drop the knowledge back on your associates. And then we've got your social sellers. We're going to call you associates today. So just know, if you're an MLO, an FA, a wealth advisor, a banker, we're going to reference all of you sales makers as associates, okay? So, whatever team you're from, the information that we're going to go through today should really apply to everyone. Thanks, Ryan. All righty. So let's talk about social media really quick. We're going to talk about what social selling is, but some of us are avid social media users. I love social media, but some of us are really only on social media because of other people. For example, Facebook. Grandma Donna likes to keep up with your life. Your mom wants to know what's going on. And some of us, let's be honest, we like to check out on like what our old friends from high school are doing. So a lot of times it's just kind of to keep up with people. But not a lot of people think of it as a relationship building tool. And you definitely should, because you can build your professional brand and cultivate relationships all on social media. So what is social selling? I think LinkedIn says it best. It's a sales technique, and it enables you to generate leads, and it kind of eliminates the need for cold calling, right? Instead of picking up a random phone call, I don't like phone calls, but you can go out and check a profile of the people that are reaching out to you and see what they're all about before you engage with them. So social selling is really about leveraging your social networks to find the right prospects and build those trusted relationships and ultimately achieve those sales goals. And so it's all of that's going to be easier when you have a audience that you can trust and that trusts you, really. So here's some data to back that up. The majority of borrowers buy, so 92%, almost 100%. I mean, that's crazy. They buy from one of the first two lenders they speak with. So it's so important to stay top of mind with these people. And a lot of you, especially if you're in the mortgage industry, you're like, that's great, but I have been going nuts. My business is crazy. Check out the second stat. The data also shows that only 18% of lenders maintain their customer base. And a lot of times that's because they're not cultivating and nurturing those relationships. Not only, I'm going to have you go to the next slide, it's not only about nurturing those relationships, it's about creating whole new ones, right? So if you take a look at the wealth sector, 92% of advisors report using social media to acquire new clients. That's like, again, almost 100%. That's a ton. So more investors are using social media to make decisions than ever. And almost 50% of investors say that social media impacts who they're going to hire as a professional, like a financial professional. And this isn't on the slide, but I thought this was a crazy stat that 20% of investors, no matter what their age or income or assets were, said that an advisor's social media was their sole deciding factor. Sole deciding factor in the decision-making process when evaluating a financial professional. So it's really important to show up on social media. All right, so the common thread between these two data slides is really social selling. So, you know, we all know people trust people more than they trust brands. If you didn't know that, it's true. And social media really provides you that leverage to build that trust. So we're going to talk through that conversion funnel that you see on the slide right there. We're going to talk about how to improve your presence within each stage to convert your prospects all the way down into leads. So if we start at the top with awareness, we'll talk about creating and distributing content and engaging with your audience. So not only are you going to stay top of mind for when the time is right for them to make a buying decision, but you're also just humanizing yourself and making yourself approachable. And then you take a step further down and you can reach and engage audiences outside of your existing audience that you already have on your pages, which is going to help you amplify your brand message and your professional brand. Take another step. It doesn't stop there. It's important to continue that customer journey by making sure you're gathering a list or Rolodex of those interested prospects and taking action and reaching out to them. And if they're not converting on the first try, you're going to be able to continue retargeting them in order to stay top of mind. So we're going to talk through all of these different pieces today. We're going to stop. We're going to start at the top of the funnel. Awareness. A few of you out there have seen this slide, and I'm never going to be like, I'm always going to be surprised at how we're going to go back to this, yeah, there you go. Are we having a magic mouse problem? The little pie chart thingies. How do we stay top of mind and build relationships? So make sure you're leveraging that captive audience because, you know, like I said, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're scrolling, seeing what's going on. There's people already out on Facebook. In fact, more people are using Facebook than watching TV. So my mind is always blown at this stat. People who share content, salespeople who share content are almost 50% more likely to hit quota and 57% more likely to generate leads. And this is because they're showing up where their prospects are. And they're sharing content that reinforces their expertise in the industry. So this is the best way. Sharing content is the best way to start at the top of that sales funnel. And we're going to call this organic social. All right. It is called organic social and it's free. You don't put any paid promotion behind it. So we're going to take the next step and look at some best practices that you can use to create awareness for your professional brand. So first off, this user, they've reached thousands of people this year just by sharing content and trying to keep their name and face out in front of people. So this is a great first step or best practice for associates to have this as your starting goal. Just get your name and your face out there by sharing content. All right, you might be like, what am I supposed to share? So we're going to break it down for you in the next slide. We break down content types into three main categories. Evergreen, you can see it over here on the left side. Evergreen, which is kind of your industry educational content, homegrown or company, and personal. So we're going to show you examples here in a minute, but let me explain to you why it's important to mix those up on your content schedule. So by sharing the educational content, that does help increase the clicks on your article and make yourself more trustworthy. And it helps you come off as the industry expert, right? So that's the first step. And then when you sprinkle in some personal and some company content in there, you're increasing your conversion to your website because that's the content that makes you trustworthy as a human and humanizes your brand. And so you really want to create that balanced mix of content. And that's the best way to convert your clicks to clients. Say that 5 times fast, convert your clicks to clients. Challenge of the day. We're going to show you an example of how to put a balanced content mix on your calendar here in a few slides. However, I do want to show you some awesome examples from some of our current customers of the different types of content. So evergreen, again, third party, industry, educational, whatever you want to call it. The purpose is to educate and inform your audience. So it's going to be industry relevant, and it's a great way to show your expertise and establish yourself as a thought leader. So there's some good examples. I know that the holidays is not necessarily educational, but it is an evergreen topic. Okay, that's why that's on the list. And before we get any further, let me say how important it is to add images to your posts, because how often have you been scrolling and you just see a text post and you keep scrolling? Like the image is what's going to capture your attention. So make sure you've got photos on your posts. All right, the next one, homegrown or company posts. So this is where you can share different customer testimonials, success stories, community service content, maybe some products that you or your company specializes in. So humanize your brand, put a face to your brand's name, and reinforce that person-to-person connection when you're sharing this content. And lastly, the personal content is this. It's the last of the three, and we highly encourage that you share this. This is scary for a lot of people. It's tough. But remember, you need to show that you're human on social. You need to show that you're approachable. I love the different ideas here on the slide. National Days is the easiest one, I think. Like, who doesn't love seeing a dog on their page, like on their feed, right? Like National Dog Day, National Cat Day, National Coffee Day is always a popular one. Professional updates is always a good one. Any goals that you've met. This is my favorite one that I saw this season. It's a meme. Not only is it funny, but it also has a little professional feeling to it. It makes her seem way more approachable. I'd be like, oh, that's funny. Let's talk. So yeah, try to sprinkle in those personal posts among the educational and homegrown content to make yourself seem more personable. Something that we recommend that a lot of our top performing people do is plan out your content and just get it scheduled across all of your pages to make sure that you're showing up consistently and opening those doors to create more meaningful engagement. This person does a great job. They've really increased the views of their brand and their page. And with Denim Social, sharing the different content types is pretty easy, especially when your team has pre-approved content waiting. Your marketing teams typically are, you're teeing up this pre-approved content, and it's just waiting for associates to schedule it out on their content calendars. When you schedule out posts in Denim Social, they post automatically for you at the time that you want them to. So it just takes a few minutes at the beginning of each month to schedule out your posts. As they're kind of listed there on the calendar with the trees, the evergreen, and the pink little bank looking thing is the homegrown. You can see it's sprinkled there throughout the month. You might have heard us say we recommend the 4-1-1 strategy. We really recommend for every few industry posts, make sure you're sprinkling in that company and personal posts to just keep it interesting, keep it dynamic. The content libraries in Denim Social tee up a ton of industry content for marketing teams to use and save into content libraries. And Ryan's going to show you that in a little bit. We've got some great ideas for you guys in the content libraries and how to organize those. A lot of companies also save their company content into those same or separate content library folders, so associates can go in and post those as well if the marketing team isn't already posting on their behalf. So it's really important to empower those associates to take control of their content, and by providing content in the content libraries, it's a great way to do that. And then this is a great example. I love this. Somebody, he blocks out 15 minutes on his calendar at the beginning of the month, and he's got his whole month of content scheduled, but I know he's also still going in there and sprinkling in his personal content as he goes. He is very empowered by his marketing team because they add third-party content and company content into their content library very often, really empowering their associates with a ton of options that they can post to their page and engage with their customers as they choose. All right, I think I'm going to take a breather and let Ryan show you what this looks like in real life. Ryan, can I toss it over to you?
You absolutely can. Thank you very much. And I loved a lot of what Taylor was saying. And to be intentional, I want to keep it on this slide as I'm getting kind of the actual product itself ready for you, because I think that this, with there being such a mix of folks on the phone today, we did notice that there are quite a few of folks in the marketing teams that are here, that are on this webinar. So the idea of spending 15 minutes kind of blows me away. That's someone that is very intentional about the importance of social. They're the ones that really understand a lot of the ins and outs of Denim Social itself. Couple questions for you guys. This is where we're going to make it a little bit interactive. I want to get a sense of how many of you feel like you're really utilizing the content library, some of the folders, creating experiences here for your LOs, for your associates, as Taylor has been calling them. How many of you on the marketing side feel like you're doing a real good job of organizing content with folders and everything else in the content library? Second question for you guys, if we have any kind of end users, associates on the call, I would love to know if you are utilizing that content, if you are spending a lot of time within the content library itself, because this is what I want to focus in on. Because as we look at some of those examples that Taylor talked about, this is all about folks that are doing a really good job with it. They understand the power of social. They understand the power of Denim Social in terms of how they can utilize us. I mean, I don't want anyone to walk away from Denim Social and think that, you know what, it's all just about posting content. It's about me creating the post. It's about me identifying who it is I'm posting on behalf of, and off we go. That simplifies what we're doing here. One of the things that you didn't hear us talk about, and for those of you that are checking us out for the first time, you're going to hear a lot about compliance as you speak to us again in the future. But the bigger aspect of Denim is not just the act of posting it for a future date, but it's really starting to utilize the power of some of the content that we have here as well. So when I talk to a lot of marketing professionals, I like to talk a lot about, yes, it's the content that we're curating for you. It's the ability to have these feeds through managed subscriptions where we're helping supplement the feed, the content for you. Taylor was talking about evergreen posts. That's third-party thought leader information. Many people that we talk to are like, I don't have enough to say. 6 months from now, I'm going to run out of ideas of what to say. This is going to be a great way for you to start to utilize that so that you have that constant feed of, we want to have those evergreen posts. Maybe we do want to post about mortgage or retirement or about credit unions, but maybe we want to mix it up and we want to talk about health and wellness. So I want to make sure that we are making you folks aware again of the value of so much of this content that we're helping supplement for you. So again, this goes back to adding this back to the library. So for you end users, the associates, the LOs, MLOs on the call today, I want you to don't get lost in all of these different tabs here on the left. Your experience with Denim looks much, much more simple. Your experience with Denim basically has a dashboard, social networks, and publishing. Because the focus that we want to have for you is, again, to go back to the content library. If I'm speaking of best practices of things that I hear from marketing teams, just in terms of kind of the daily things that they're doing, try to make it simple. I look at folks and I hear from folks and they're like, you know what, I actually go out and I create a folder for these guys every week. So this is even quicker for the LOs. They're going to go out to the folder called Week of 11-15 content. This is the evergreen content that we want them to push out if we're not posting on their behalf. Again, I would highly suggest for many of you in marketing, let's go ahead and take that next step. Let's post on behalf of others, because we want our LOs doing what they do best. We want them dealing with customers and closing business. And we don't always want them to worry about dealing in social, with the social experience itself. So we might go ahead and, yes, we might allow them to post it, but we might just go ahead and post it for them. So there's a lot of stuff here. I'd love to see if anyone has any thoughts regarding the content library. How many folks feel like you're utilizing it well? You're really pushing a lot of content there where it's easy for folks to access, so that we can start to get our brand, the individual voices out there heard even more. Again, we could complement this with every single slide that Taylor had when we saw the percentages of how many folks, how likely they are to do business with folks again, and or they're identifying who they're going to do business with because your name, your brand, your image is one of the first couple folks that they see because you have a presence here within social. So there's a lot that we could dig into, and I know a lot of you are already customers and partners of Denim Social already. So some of this is not new to you, but I really want to stress the importance of the content library, having us help you curate content so that you never run out of things to say and that you're still doing it in a very compliant nature. And for those of you that are the end users, the associates, let's find an easy way to push this content out by, again, you guys coming out to the content library and realizing that everything that's going on is going through those compliance channels. So I'm going to pass it back over to Taylor because we want to talk a little bit more about how do we eliminate any and all digital dead ends as it relates to not only organic, but also paid advertising as well. So I'm going to pass it back over to Taylor now.
All right, thanks, Ryan. All right, we've got the beautiful funnel back on the screen here. So far, we've talked about the first level, awareness. How can associates and marketing teams zone in on awareness using organic or free social? So let's take a step down and we're going to talk about how you can reach and engage audiences outside of that existing audience to move them further down the funnel toward that bottom conversion rung. All right, so we're going to talk about paid social. Why do we need to look at paid social? Well, so typical organic or free reach is under 5%. So think of it this way. Easy round number. If you have like 5,000 followers, an average of 250 people would see your posts. And while it is important to build relationships with your audience and ensure that your page is full of that expert content that we've talked about and all of those things, social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram incentivize paid social. So that means you're going to drive more engagement with that paid advertising. All right, so you might be thinking, well, that's great. I boost my posts, and that is fantastic. It's a great way to get your feet wet. I love that you're doing it. However, where a boosted post may initially optimize those page likes and comments, shares, awareness, actual paid ad campaigns can help you show up in more places and optimize for conversions and actually direct that customer down the journey that you want them to go. And I know I said this earlier, but people trust people. All right. Remember when I said that? People trust people. Don't forget that. It still rings true with paid ads. All right. In fact, our data shows that ad campaigns can drive up to 250% better performance when you personalize and you localize ads rather than just focusing on the brands, the brand ads. While building brand ads is vital, like you have to do it, it's easy to overlook ads for individual associates because it's really hard to scale and it's hard to go into Ads Manager and build ads for that many people. I know some of you have done it. Some of you might not have, know that it's very tedious. So these days within Denim Social, marketers have the ability to create just one ad campaign, and you can send it out on behalf of all your associates. Like you see on the screen here, each little dot stands for an associate. So you could create one campaign and send it out on behalf of all those little dots for associates. And it would be personalized with their information and their landing page, and even localized within that radius that you decide within that market or region, not just radius, it's like a region. And so the magic of the tool is that it really only takes a few minutes to build out those campaigns on behalf of hundreds of people. And like I said before, like actually doing that in Facebook Ads Manager can take days, like weeks for hundreds of users. You have to create them individually. So Denim Social is about efficiency. You can do it in just a few minutes. This user, or this chief client officer at this company, they launch ad campaigns on behalf of hundreds of agents using Denim Social. So they love that they're able to manage the ad campaign in just one dashboard. It saves them a ton of time and money, and it's super easy to use. Ryan's going to show you here in a second how simple it is. Alrighty, so I know I'm talking fast. I'm trying, I know it's lunchtime for a lot of you. We've talked about so far optimizing content strategy and scheduling out content to create like a more approachable or robust profile, and then layering that in with paid ads to increase reach and engagement. So how do we keep moving people down that funnel? So to continue moving down that funnel and create a customer journey that's more holistic, you've got to give that prospect a chance to convert. So use your posts and paid ads as the beginning of the journey instead of the dead end. Like Ryan said, we're going to talk about removing those digital dead ends. You want to give them a link to follow and a call to action. And ideally, as you can see on the screen here, the link would have a place to collect that prospect's information. And so associates can actually use that information and follow up with them. So Denim Social, again, I'm going to go back to that slide, Ryan, just a second. I have a lot to say apparently today. We do have a solution. It's a really simple way, a templatized landing page builder that's easy to link back to each associate's landing page with the lead form over there on the right side, which when it's filled out, it's really slick. It just sends an email straight to that associate's email, like inbox. So they'll get real information that they can actually like follow up with that user instead of just their normal like click or like data, which is awesome. Tangible information. All right, now I'm going to continue talking about this journey because it's a journey. And like I said, the post is just the beginning of the journey. And it doesn't end with just adding a link or a landing page even to your posts and ads. So we're going to talk about retargeting. Let's take a step back and visualize. This just happened to me. I was online shopping and I was looking for a pair of Brooks running shoes. And I couldn't decide what I wanted because they have all these different styles and they switch them out every, year. So you never know what you're going to want. I decided to move along, go to the next site, went to Best Buy. But lo and behold, those shoes, so it showed up in the sidebar and I was like, how did they find me? Well, that's an example of retargeting, right? So retargeting ads follow you around. And actually, you can see here on the slide, they have 10x higher click-through rate than just regular ads. All right. So Denim Social has the ability to set up retargeting for those of our customers that use pages and advertising. So if, for example, if you had a prospect click on your landing page and decide not to fill out the form, we could retarget them. And that would increase the chance of them filling out the form and being converted to a lead. So really going from not only awareness and not only reaching audiences, but like giving the clicker a chance to convert and following up with them if they don't. So that's what the funnel looks like. Ryan, will you show us what that looks like in advertising? Are you muted?
There we go. Now I'm not. I loved how you talked about removing digital dead ends. And I loved how you mentioned it in the sense of give them a chance to take action, because that's kind of how I am now. We've all gotten so used to kind of taking that next step online. We see an ad, we see a form, we're less likely to be intimidated by those forms now than we were even a couple years ago. So I do want experiences where I have the ability to finish it off, remove that dead end. So I think the dead end is applicable not just for all of you guys on the phone, but also for the consumers because they want it to be easy. So I'm going to present some of this today, and this is a familiar screen. Taylor showed this as part of the slide. I'm going to present this just in terms of how easy can it be done. Again, for any of you that have done Facebook ads before, anytime we mention it, I feel like I hear this giant exhale of Oh, please don't remind me of how painful that is. Our job here is to make a lot of that very, very easy. But the big thing, and I think the number on the slide was 250%, more likely for business, I think, was the idea of let's not always think about things at a brand level. Let's start considering local campaigns. Let's start thinking of local ads. And this makes a lot of sense to me as I'm looking at a map. Taylor mentioned each dot is kind of the geo coverage area of individual reps. We want to localize it. We want to make sure that we are getting kind of the best bang for our buck. So, we're based in St. Louis. If I look in Missouri here, we're all the way over here. But I want to make sure that the money we're spending with ads is smart money. I want to make sure that we're localizing it. So this is that area. This is the ability for us to make the process super easy for you. So we're going to go ahead and do some things with local ads. We're going to take it further though. We're going to do something that we call smart campaigns, but for many of you in marketing, it's A/B testing. So we're going to give you the ability to create two different messages. And let's go ahead and test them out for a few days and let's figure out which one plays the best. Well, Denim Social has that ability to do that, but also take it a step deeper where once we identify the best message, we're going to move all the folks that are in that lesser performing message, we're going to move them over to the better performing message. So we're going to keep this one simple today, but ultimately this is going to be our ability to just start making some of these choices. These are all things that are familiar to many of you that are used to doing paid ads. The big thing that I want to draw your attention to, we've talked about Facebook ads, and we even talked about Taylor's story about her Brooks running shoes and probably seeing it on Instagram. My kids love doing that, where we even talk about stuff like how long is it going to take for it to show up on our Instagram feed if they're looking for something. But you're seeing kind of all the different areas where you can have an impact. And again, let's just kind of drive this home at a local level, not always at that brand level. Let's make sure that we have a presence here. Let's remove the digital dead ends. Let's get your name, your brand, your reps. Let's get everybody's face. Let's get everybody available to folks at more of a local level. So once we do have that presence and we've got the ads in all of our different places here, let's look a little bit closer into, okay, how easy is it to make those pages? So if I were to pull up one, I'm going to pull up the exact same one that Taylor had a screenshot of. And the really big thing for us is making sure that everything that's done, whether it be in publishing or in ads or here in pages, that it's really simple, it's really intuitive, so that you can understand, hey, yep, as we have this home buyer's guide, what's the information that I need? How do I create this? So for many of you, marketing, I could describe this as a WYSIWYG editor. That hits home for you. Ultimately, for those of you not in marketing, this is going to be kind of a no-code template builder. So you can really work through here and change the look, change the feel, the color, the text. Very, very simple to do. But also, let's remember, it's the whole retargeting. If we want to keep track of the Google Analytics, that'd be great. But we want to make sure that everything that we're collecting is helping you. But again, as I started to present this earlier from the mindset of a consumer, I want to make sure it's really simple for them too. I want them to go through the whole process and get what they want, to make sure that it's checking the boxes for everybody involved. So again, as we're looking at this, super, super easy from kind of the building of the pages perspective, lots of different things that can be done here. And so I would challenge each of you guys, if you're starting to look at, whether it's 2022 or 2023 in terms of your marketing strategy, and if you're not doing paid advertising, it can be a very complex and complicated world. Really, Denim does a really good job of simplifying it for you. And one of the bigger kind of value adds that I would say is keeping it all within one platform. So the same place from a marketing perspective, as we talk about organic versus paid, they can all live in the same space. They can all have one vendor, one partner that helps manage that. So that's where, as we wanted to close out on advertising, I want to make sure it's not lost on you guys of your social presence, from posting to Instagram, to Facebook, Twitter, all those things, as we know about within publishing, which many of you guys on the call today are very familiar with. There's so much more that you can utilize within Denim that I think will make you even more powerful, more effective across the board using the content library. Or if you take that next step and start looking at paid ads, Let's start to factor in the whole idea of localizing the content, keeping it within one platform, just to remove all digital dead ends, have it all connected so that we've got that more clear view of your presence from the social selling aspect. So I think that was all I wanted to show from a demo perspective today. I know that at the very beginning, we had kind of asked folks to, pipe in with any questions that they might have. I haven't seen any come in. I haven't seen too many come in just yet. Taylor, you and I were talking earlier today regarding some of kind of the common questions or points that are made as it's related to ads, to paid ads. And I thought you had a couple of really good questions. Can you remind me of kind of what those common questions were and kind of where we direct people when they do ask those questions?
Yeah, so something that I get asked quite often is actually from associates. They are chomping at the bit to run their own ad campaigns. And that's awesome. We love that. But also, you've got to stay cohesive with what your brand is putting out there from a paid perspective. So we talk a lot about, we talk to a lot of marketing teams because it is easy to scale those ads on behalf of those employees that are really eager to get going. So then they can scale those ads on behalf of all associates in their markets. That's been a common question I've gotten lately.
Great. And I know we had another question in here, more on the publishing side of things, and someone asking about, do we have any recommendations for hashtags and things like that? That is a question or kind of a sentiment that gets brought up a lot for me when I'm talking to prospective clients. I don't know that we don't necessarily have any recommendations at this point. I do know that we are pretty intentional. When I present this to folks, I'm very intentional about kind of talking to that as well as tagging individuals. Taylor, you can probably speak to this as well as I can. When we received our additional Series B funding a few weeks ago, Doug, our CEO, posted it and he tagged all of us. Did you notice how your LinkedIn activity just kind of went through the roof? It wasn't because of anything I did, but it was because I was tagged on a very popular post. So it was very interesting to see how many more views, again, organically, how many more views from individuals I didn't know because someone tagged me. I thought it was really powerful to understand the simplicity of that, but also the effect of how many more eyes there were on different posts that I made after that because of that original post.
Yeah, for sure. Tagging partners is huge. I'm going to go a step further for hashtags. I know that there's a few companies that have recommended hashtags, especially by campaign that they run. So definitely check with your marketing team. We have holiday hashtags that we put out last month in our blog. So like, what was it? Thankful Thursday. I can't remember. We can send out the blog again. I love like seasonal ones or like, hashtag Mortgage Monday, right? Like that's always a fun one. I don't know about local area, but that would be good. If you love engaging with your audience, come up with your own hashtag. Like it's Tuesday tip or whatever. I just came up with tips of Tuesday, whatever, and then share maybe an article with your own lead-in language. There's a ton of stuff you can do and get creative with it.
Yeah. Taylor, one of the things that I always hear from folks when we're kind of introducing them to denim, sometimes they don't always tell me that content is an issue, but the more we press, they're like, yeah, you're right. They're like, I don't have enough to say. And that's generally why people don't engage more with social, is because they feel like they don't have enough to say. My guess is you've got a pretty good experience, and you can't put numbers to it, but the folks that are doing this well, probably the folks that are on those quotes, those are the folks that really took what we're telling them about content library, about just being in the space to their advantage, because I don't have that much to say personally, but we've got to start using the resources given to us. Do you have any stories of maybe some of your clients that, how much they increased their posting? Don't put a number to it, but just like put it in perspective because of some of the content that we have.
Oh, totally. I mean, I would say our top performers, like that quote, or we see the most engagement out of the people that are scheduling out 3 to 4 times a week. You can look at their calendars in the tool and they are scheduled out. They even schedule months ahead, because for Thanksgiving and for Christmas or whatever, they already have those scheduled. And if their company has like a campaign, they already have like their company content scheduled. So I would say, yeah, I mean, at least 3 times a week. And then they layer in some more of that personal content, maybe once a week. Huge returns as far as engagement goes. And those are typically often correlated with the top performers in sales.
Yeah. And I know we've had a few conversations recently where I think we're getting more and more folks aware of the fact that, hey, there's we can only talk about mortgage so often before people start tuning us out. So that's where they've started to buy into the whole thought of third-party content to the, to the subscriptions. I think Katie on the chat had a question of, are those the only selections that are available to you? So Katie, I would say the answer to that is no. We can absolutely customize what those collections are. I could have actually shown you, we have one in there where it's St. Louis happenings, because we're firm believers that localized content matters. So this is my ability from the demo side where I can go in and just pull up that folder and we can see, just local happenings within St. Louis. A common story we talk about on more of the sales side is we've got a customer on the West Coast in San Diego, and a lot of their clients are very high net worth individuals. So they have a subscription of their collections where it's all about sailing, all about yachting, because part of their social media mix is supplying their customers with some of that information. So the long-winded answer to your question, short answer to it is we can absolutely customize that. So let us know, Katie, if you're interested in doing that, and we can talk more.
A fun fact also, we have not talked about this yet. There were 2 new collections added to the ones that you can choose from out of the general collections, and that's holiday and community banking. I'm super pumped about holiday. There's I'd say like the number one thing that I would want to share right now are all the gift guides that are out there in the holidays collection. So go check that out if you haven't already added that to your collections library. Go check out the holiday one.
Yep. Lots of good stuff there. And it really is, it's just a way to supplement all the hard work you guys are doing on the marketing side. Lean on that a little bit. It's feeding, it's updating constantly. So take advantage of that content.
Totally.
I think we've run out of questions from the group so far, Taylor. Any other things that you want to add or mention, a common question? Otherwise, I think I'm good on my side.
I don't think so. I think I guess one other common question I might get is, how do I know if my marketing team's running ads on my page, or if they already are, or posting on my behalf? I don't want to duplicate what they're doing. How do I work with that? First of all, most likely you'll know if they're running an ad campaign on your page. If you're an admin, especially on your page, you'll get like notifications for that. But if they're already posting on your behalf and running ad campaigns on your page, that still doesn't account for more of that homegrown and personal content. So that's where you can really zone in. And since they're already doing the work for you of posting maybe company and educational content, that gives you more time to add in personal and more engaging content with your audience. So definitely take advantage. If you're lucky enough to be posted on behalf of, take advantage of that, and use that time to engage further with your audience. I'd say that's the common other question I get.
Yeah. I think being able to lean on that and have it be in the background is fantastic, and it's the right branding, the right messaging, because marketing understands it, but still add your flair to it. Still, be you through those posts as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, everyone on the call, thank you guys so much for listening to us and for watching us today. I think if you guys have any other questions, reach back out to us. I know many of you know Taylor. Reach back out to her. We'd love to show you more. We'd love to talk more about kind of all the exciting things happening at Denim Social. So we really do appreciate the time and look forward to speaking with you guys again here in the near future.
Bye, guys. Happy Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you before then.